my duty as president. I'll fulfill my oath, and I will honor the Constitution. On January 20th, we'll have a peaceful transfer of power here in America.
President Biden addressed the nation this morning, urging a peaceful transfer of power after President-elect Donald Trump's decisive win over Kamala Harris. Thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Ashley Grams. Vice President Harris took the stage yesterday at Howard University. She conceded the race and looked toward the future.
Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place.
That speech after Harris called Trump to congratulate him on his victory. Donald Trump calling his win one of the biggest comebacks in politics.
This was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time.
President Biden also called Trump yesterday and invited him to the White House for a meeting to, quote, ensure a smooth transition. Now back here locally, votes have been counted and the race for Portland mayor is over. The Oregonian called the race, declaring trucking company CEO Keith Wilson the winner. The two leading contenders behind him in the race, City Commissioners Carmen Rubio and Rene Gonzalez, both conceded last night. In a statement, Mayor-elect Wilson said, quote, voters in every corner of our city made their voices heard. They want change, and for local leadership to work together to solve the issues our community faces. We'll need all of us to lift each other up and accomplish what we can for our city. Wilson is expected to make his acceptance speech in half an hour from now. You can stream the speech live at 12:30 on the KGW Plus app, available now on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. We'll also have a full recap on KGW News at 4 o'clock. Now, as for Portland City Council seats, there are still a lot of unknowns. Here are the leading candidates in District 1. That's east of I-205. Candace Avalos, Loretta Smith, and Jamie Dunphy. In District 2, that covers north and northeast Portland. The leading candidates are still Samir Kanal, Elena Purtle-Guinea, and City Commissioner Dan Ryan. We also know of at least one winner in District 3, that's inner southeast. The Oregonian has called one seat for former City Commissioner Steve Novick. Tiffany Koyama Lane and Angelita Murillo are leading the pack after him. And in District 4, that's west of the Willamette River, policy advocate Olivia Clark is a projected winner. Mitch Green and Eric Zimmerman round out the top three. And we're already hearing from the two projected winners, Olivia Clark and Steve Novick. KGW's Catherine Cook has more on what they say are their goals once they officially take their seats on City Council.
Elected leaders within Portland's new form of government are emerging. By Wednesday night, the Oregonian had called winners of two seats for Portland's new 12-person city council, Steve Novick for District 3 and Olivia Clark for District 4.
I really appreciate their confidence in my ability to take on this task.
Clark is a retired policy director for TriMet. She hopes Portland's new form of government, 4 districts with 3 people each, can restore the community's confidence in the city's ability to deliver.
How will you know if you guys have succeeded?
I think that you'll quit seeing that sort of vitriol between the city and the county. You'll see more housing on the continuum of housing for homelessness as well as for all different income levels. I hope that we see the city of Portland become more user-friendly for everyone.
I think this system is going to be good for Portland.
Steve Novick is no stranger to Portland government. He served on city council from 2013 to 2017. He's grateful for the chance to come back under new circumstances.
I did think it'd be useful to have somebody with not just the experience of getting things done at City Hall, but the humility that comes with experience.
Outer Foster Road and Outer Halsey.
Looking back, Novick says he's most proud of 2 achievements: spearheading Portland's voter-approved gas tax to help fund road improvements, and placing a fence around Portland's Vista Bridge, where for years people had died by suicide.
One of my most prized possessions is I have a scroll that was signed by a bunch of people who were friends and family members of somebody who had jumped off the bridge. And they said, you could not save our friend, but we know you'll save future lives.
Looking forward, Novick is anxious to tackle current issues like homelessness, public safety, and climate change, all as part of a team of 12.
There's going to be some growing pains, but I think that 10 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to know that this was the right decision.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
And we expect to see updated voting results from Multnomah County around 6 this evening. We will bring you those as soon as we receive them on KGW News at 6. Now to a look at the balance of power in Congress. NBC News projects Republicans will take control of the Senate, flipping 3 seats, but dozens of House seats have yet to be called. In the House, the magic number is 218. Right now, Republicans have the edge, but Democrats aren't far behind. The question now is, will Republicans control both chambers of Congress, and when will we know? One of the seats that's too close to call is the 3rd Congressional District in Washington. That's the rematch between Democratic Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez and Republican rival Joe Kent. This afternoon, Gluesenkamp-Perez maintains a slight lead over Kent. Oregon's 5th congressional race is another big one. New returns show incumbent Republican Lori Chavez-DeRemer trailing Democratic challenger Janelle Bynum by about 7,000 votes. We have all the results for both Oregon and Washington races on KGW.com. If you text the word election to 503-226-5088, we'll send you a link that will take you directly to the results page. Now we get a chance to talk with Rod. Rod, not a lot of rain here. We're seeing some great weather.
You've looked outside, right? It is gorgeous out there. We have basically a perfectly clear sky across all of our region. The winds are definitely noticeable out on the east side. I just checked the airport out in Troutdale. East winds gusting to 33, but you get just away from the opening of the gorge, and winds elsewhere are primarily light. So all the cameras are sunny. Here's a beautiful Depot Bay looking at downtown from 101. That's a view at the Channel House looking across the entrance to the harbor there. Out in wine country, the Dundee Hills, Domaine Serene's winery, perfectly clear, and we're not going to see these conditions change any today. And look at this, downtown Portland is at 59. Confidence was high that we're going to hit 60 today. Obviously, I've actually upped the forecast high to 63, and this batch of air definitely would support numbers as warm as 64. So we'll see how warm we get. The record high today, by the way, is 66. But not much wind for most of us. Clear skies continue well into the evening. We'll be down to the low 50s at 8 o'clock. The weekend still expects showers to develop on Saturday, and we'll have that complete update for you coming up.
Thank you, Rod. Portland police arrested 7 people overnight for recklessly riding mini bikes through downtown Portland. They say around 9 o'clock, officers were keeping an eye out for protests downtown when mini bike riders started doing burnouts in Pioneer Square. Officers caught up with them down at a gas station on Southeast MLK in Alder. Police arrested 7 riders and confiscated 8 mini bikes, all homemade with no license plates. An officer hurt his hand during the arrests. He was treated at the hospital and released, but could be out of work for about a week. Police also responded to a fatal crash last night in North Portland. It happened around 11:30 at the intersection of North Kirby and Columbia Boulevard. Officers say they got a call about a crash involving 2 cars and 1 pedestrian. They found 1 person dead when they arrived. Both drivers stayed at the scene. We haven't seen any large-scale protests in Portland following Tuesday night's presidential election results, but we have seen a few smaller gatherings around downtown. One group rallied at Pioneer Courthouse Square carrying both Palestinian and pride flags. Other people wearing all black gathered around the Justice Center. Portland Police says all of its officers are on duty this week. Yesterday, Police Chief Bob Day said election night was relatively quiet, but he also says the department is not letting its guard down, also adding that a free speech event is not permission to engage in any criminal activity. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office says no one was hurt when a gun went off in a car while a mom was dropping her kids off at school. It happened Monday morning at Centennial Grade School in Scio. Authorities say a hunting rifle in the back seat that was pointed at the floor went off. Deputies cited the mom for firearm possession on school property and reckless endangerment. And happening right now, Brian Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students, is in a Boise courtroom. Attorneys for both sides arguing whether the death penalty should be taken off the table. Kohberger's attorneys claim putting him to death, if he's convicted, would be unconstitutional. They argue it would be cruel and unusual punishment and would violate his right to due process. The prosecution claims the case meets the standard for capital punishment under Idaho law. They say Kohberger's alleged acts were, quote, especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. Kohberger's trial is set to begin in early August in Boise.